The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Mark. The apostles gathered together with Jesus and reported all they had done and taught. He said to them, "Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest for a while." People were coming and going in great numbers, and they had no opportunity even to eat. So they went off in a boat by themselves to a deserted place. People saw them leaving, and many came to know about it. They hastened there on foot from all the towns and arrived at the place before them. When Jesus disembarked and saw the crowd, his heart was moved with pity for them, for they were like sheep without a shepherd. And he began to teach them many things. The Gospel of the Lord. Good morning. I find this story in today's Gospel quite interesting. There's a couple of different ways I think we might look at this. First of all, we hear that the apostles gathered together with Jesus and they were like reporting back to him everything that they had done when he had sent them out to preach and perform good works and healing people and that kind of thing. And they were kind of giving a summary to him of all the wonderful things that they had done. And he recognized that they had worked pretty hard. Maybe they were tired. The Gospel tells us that even so, there were lots of people still coming around and gathering. They wanted to see them. They wanted to see Jesus. They wanted to experience his preaching, maybe perhaps receive some kind of healing from him, encouraging word, or even forgiveness. People were attracted to Jesus and the message he preached, and they were attracted to his apostles who preached the very same message and performed very similar kind of miracles and forgave sins and showed mercy and kindness to people and all that. Those people who were the recipients of the preaching of Jesus and all of those, let's say, good works, were hungry for what he had to offer. They were hungry. Jesus says in the Gospel today that they were like sheep without a shepherd. You know, the sheep want to be shepherded. They want guidance. They desire it. They flock to it if they need it. Jesus recognized that all of those people who were so attracted by his message and his word wanted to be enriched by him. They wanted to be ministered by Jesus and given the hope that he promised and perhaps healing. And Jesus also recognizes in the Gospel today that his apostles, those who were co-workers, were tired. Jesus was tired. And so the Gospel today tells us that after they had reported all they had done and these people kept coming around, he said, "Come away by yourselves to a deserted place and rest for a while." Gets into a boat. Gets into a boat in the little town of Capernaum. This is where they were centered. Capernaum, that little fishing village on the shores of the Sea of Galilee. They get into a boat to go to a deserted place. We believe that deserted place is a place that today is known as Tabqa. And it's believed that at the time of Jesus, it was kind of a place where there were trees and gentle lawns, and it was by the seashore, and there were springs of water there. You might think of it as a kind of state park, like we would go to have a picnic, a place to rest, a place to get away from it all. I like to do that when I go to the beach. Go to the beach, sit there, enjoy the sounds of the surf, the people who are enjoying themselves, and perhaps the sun. forget about everything, rest. We do that in many ways when we go on vacation. This is a time of the year when many people do that. Go on vacation, get away from it all, rest for a while. And Jesus kind of speaks to that sort of experience today when he says to the apostles, let's get in the boat, let's go down and rest for a while. And yet, even so, the people continued to chase after him. It's believed that that place where they went to is perhaps 2 miles away from Capernaum and probably wasn't a long journey by boat. So the people kind of knew he was going there. They probably had a sense that that's where they went to get peace and relaxation, and they followed him. The gospel says they hastened there, the people hastened there on foot from all the towns, and they arrived at the place before them. By the time they get there, looking for rest and relaxation, peace and quiet, when they get there, they find that the crowds have followed them. They can't get away. And so their desire, Jesus' desire to give them some rest is perhaps defeated a bit. But he uses the opportunity to teach a lesson. What is the lesson? The lesson is that people who hunger and thirst for what Jesus has to offer will go to lengths to try to find that. And we ought to cooperate with their desire to know Jesus. Now, all of us are not called to be preachers and ministers in the church. All of us are not apostles, and we don't have the same responsibility they did. But we share, all of us, in the mission of Jesus as missionary disciples. Somehow in our lives, we're called to minister to people who hunger and thirst for the message of the gospel in our own way. And although we deserve to have a break, maybe get away from it all like they did, desire, we ought to also recognize when people are hungering and thirsting for the faith that we have. And if we can't recognize that, if we don't have pity for them like Jesus did, if we don't see them as sheep without a shepherd, if we don't understand that they desire what we have, so much so that they will follow us, seeking the truth. If we turn away from them and fail to minister to the people who come to us in need, then we are not faithful to the message of the gospel and to the compassion and pity that Jesus has, even for people who want to come after him and arrive before him in that otherwise peaceful place. It's a bit challenging. Let us remind ourselves today that we all follow in this mission of Jesus to be people of compassion, people of love, people of forgiveness, people who proclaim the gospel with our lives and are willing to put aside our own needs sometimes in order to serve the needs of those who are much less fortunate than we are. That's what it means to be a Christian, as far as I can see. Have a nice day, everybody. Praised be Jesus Christ, now and forever. Amen.